Hi guys, welcome back to Dev Astrology. Today we are going to be doing the reading for the Gemini ascendants as well as moon rising. Yes, you can watch this video from a moon rising perspective as well as from your ascendant's perspective. And we are going to be doing this reading for the yearly 2025 analysis. So without further ado, let me talk about some of the transits that are going to be happening this year. And this year is going to be a transit, in fact, a year full of transits. You are going to see three major transits coming up this year. Jupiter is going to be transiting its from Taurus sign into the sign of Gemini and later into the sign of Cancer, into its sign of exaltation. You will see the transit of Saturn after 2.5 years. It transited in 2020, 2021, and now it is going to transit itself in the sign of Pisces. And then you are also going to witness the transit of Rahu and Ketu, with Rahu moving into the house of Aquarius, while Ketu will be moving into the sign of Leo. And very interestingly, rest of the planets, though keep on transiting as well, you are going to also witness a long-term transit of Venus in the sign of Pisces in its sign of exaltation, as well as Mars, which continues to play its game while it is currently in its sign of debilitation, goes back into Gemini, again comes back into Cancer, and then finally moves ahead into the sign of Leo in the second half of the month. So let's understand what's going to be happening for you folks. As we understand that currently you have your Jupiter sitting in the sign of Taurus, it continues to remain there. But in the month of January, on 27th itself, the first movement is going to be that of Venus coming into the sign of Pisces, where it gets exalted. Now, for you guys, Geminis, Venus is the lord of your 12th house as well as your 5th house, and it transiting into your 10th house, your house of exaltation, where it gets in conjunction with Rahu for almost 110 days. This is going to be very interesting, folks. Now you have to understand, fifth lord coming into the 10th house of exaltation, it's a Raj Yoga in itself. And when it is coming in conjunction with Rahu, we are talking about big expansions. We are talking about big play coming with respect to your karma, with respect to your focus that you're going to bring at your workplace. It could also denote your actions in general as well. But more importantly, you will notice that you will be able to utilize your creativity, your knowledge, your education in your field of work, in your workplace itself. And that is going to be very, very good. Now, though Venus doesn't have a directional strength in the 10th house, but its presence with Rahu and exaltation in the same, it is going to add a lot of impetus to your career. I would not be surprised if many of you bring some creative pursuits and skills to play as well, especially people who are in professions that are related to Venus. For example, if you're a restaurateur, you're doing your own boutique firm in terms of your clothing, apparel, beauty products, fragrances, and stuff, you are going to see some stupendous success during this period itself with this transit of Venus. Of course, you have to analyze your natal chart as well and see that the dashas and antardashas are aligning to this outcome, but the transit is showing a very promissory outcome starting from 27th of Jan itself. Now, Rahu and Ketu remain in this position all the way until May. So for this entire duration, of course, Venus will be coming in direct motion, then it gets retrograded. It will give impact of the ninth house as well. But all in all, it is not a bad situation for you folks. It again gets progressive before it moves out to the sign of Aries. But Pisces is going to be a hotbed for everyone because you will have at one point in time Sun, Mercury, Saturn, Rahu, Venus, all of them coming in conjunction, especially around the month of March. For you guys, work and your profession will become very hectic. It will become the main point of contention for your life, at least for the first half of the year. Now, you have to also understand that Venus, being the lord of your 12th house, coming 11 places away from itself into the 10th house, meaning it is going to bestow some results with respect to your foreign connections as well. Some of you who are planning to embark on international journeys, if your profession is oriented with respect to international domains like an export-import business, IT technology businesses, or if you are in a place where you are required to do long-term journeys, people who are in maritime businesses, you guys are going to see some interesting movement, positive movement and growth with respect to your career. Count your blessings there and make sure that you make full use of this period for your success. We have to also understand that this connection of 5th to 10th could also be promising for people who are in the stock trading and related industries. Any kind of investment in that space can be especially fruitful for you. You have to understand the kind of sectors you are investing in. So choose sectors that are related to Venus or related to Rahu. Any kind of investment in cryptocurrencies, stock trading around AI technologies, new age technologies, biotechnologies, especially, is what I would want to call out, will be very conducive for people who are Gemini rising or Gemini moon signs. So you will have to be, thoughtful on that front as well. Now, the second movement that you are going to notice, folks, is going to happen with this Saturn, which is currently placed in your ninth house, and it will be coming into your 10th house. Now, this is going to be a special tricky situation because for a brief period of time, for roughly about a month and a half or 2 months, you will have this conjunction of Saturn with Venus as well as Rahu. Now, of course, Saturn loves this directional strength of getting into the 10th house space. It enjoys that place, especially it being the lord of your ninth house coming into 10th. It talks positively about the positive outcomes you can anticipate from your career perspective. And I know I'm talking a lot about career for you, Geminis, but that is how the transits are panning out for you folks. If you've been looking for new job opportunities, any kind of movement in that space, this period can especially be fruitful. However, you might still struggle a bit once this transit happens and Saturn is in conjunction with Rahu, because Rahu's presence doesn't form a great yoga for Saturn. He is going to find himself tad bit uncomfortable in this presence. This Rahu is also aspecting your second house, fourth house, and sixth house. So, from a workplace perspective, you will have to showcase some bit of smartness. Clever energies are bound to come into play, and this Ketu will be giving an impact to your 12th, 10th, and 8th for that matter. But Saturn's movement here is going to further activate your 12th house. It is going to be giving an aspect to the sign of Taurus. And in this case, I'm going to say it is not going to be too dangerous or bad an aspect because it is to its friendly sign of Venus, with whom Saturn will be conjunct, and this Venus remains exalted. So at least for that first half duration, whilst Venus is in this place, this is going to pan out much better. In fact, Saturn is also going to be aspecting your fourth house. So some changes are bound to happen in your life with respect to your mental peace. I see that getting definitely troubled. Maybe it is because you are going to be so much occupied from your workplace perspective. Okay. And it is going to also demand some sort of an investment through the course of the year towards your house front, maybe acquiring some new assets and stuff like that, or doing some sort of remodeling in your own house. Remember, Rahu and Venus also are continually aspecting along with Saturn to your fourth house. So that is bound to happen, even if that aspect from Venus is a debilitated one. But Saturn's aspect is that to a friendly house, into the friendly sign of Mercury, and hence it is not going to be very disruptive for you folks. At the same time, this same Saturn is going to be given an aspect to your seventh house into the sign of Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, and Saturn is sitting in the house of Jupiter itself. This is going to be a mixed outcome based result. People who are running their own businesses, you might have to slog harder. Any which ways, the 10th house is activated, so energies are going to get drained in that direction. With respect to your spousal relationship, marital relationships, you might need to do some additional work to please your partner. But don't worry, there's nothing negative as long as this Venus is exalted. Now, what we notice is, whilst all this is happening, Jupiter continues to sit in the 12th house in the sign of Taurus itself. It is in a Parivartan Yoga, in an exchange with Venus, and it is giving an aspect to your fourth house, sixth house, and eighth house. So, matters related to that will find conducive outcomes for you folks. You would also notice that right after this period, your Venus is going to be moving into the sign of Aries, whilst Jupiter is going to be coming into your Lagna. And that is going to be stupendous because Jupiter coming into your Lagna is going to enhance your knowledge. It is going to enhance your skills, and you are going to get such benefic aspects to your fifth, seventh, and ninth house. Beautiful. I think that is going to be very positive for you folks. This is going to be happening at around 14th, 15th of May, mid of the year. And right 15 days after this, you will notice the transit of Ketu happening into your third house in the sign of Leo, whilst Rahu will be doing a true transit to your ninth house in the sign of Aquarius. Now, this is a point where Rahu and Jupiter are going to be coming in trine to each other. Venus would have already transited into your 11th house of gains. You have to understand, whilst Jupiter is in here, you will have that intensity to gain a lot of knowledge, but the presence of Rahu in its own Mool Trikon Rashi of Aquarius is going to make it much more powerful when compared to this Jupiter. So there is a possibility that you might feel clouded with respect to your judgment. You might also derive interest in different cultures, in different religions per se. Spirituality of other cultures might impact you. I'm also expecting that during this phase is when you will plan some sort of long distance travel. Maybe it is pertaining to holidays, but I expect more of it business related travel coming into place. Spiritually, breaks are also anticipated for you folks. But whilst this transit is happening and Jupiter is stationed at your Lagna, good things are going to come at least from your seventh house perspective. Yes, aspect of Ketu is also going to be there in your seventh house, but Jupiter is going to keep that under control because it is its own house, own sign, and he is going to take much more control than that Ketu does. Now, at the same time, what you will understand is that Rahu's influence into your fifth, along with Jupiter, will bring a lot of interest for many of you towards stock trading, investment, and strategies pertaining to that. Many of you might even pursue courses, education abroad. So please be open to that sort of an idea. If you have that sort of a mindset, I think things will pan out post May for you in that direction pretty well, and you should see positive results coming in there too. Now, as we move ahead through the year, what you will realize is that this Jupiter is transiting into its sign of exaltation at around October 18th, where it moves into your second house. From there, it is going to be aspecting your sixth house, your eighth house, and your 10th house, which is in the sign of Pisces itself. So, guys, you can clearly notice that now Jupiter will again, it is getting Atichari for the year, which means it is going to be moving in a very fast paced motion for the course of this year. And as it is aspecting your 10th house where Saturn is sitting, you are going to get support from your bosses, leaders. Maybe many of you see some promotions also working out for you in this direction. And that's a very good sign, especially for people who are employed, because this aspect of Jupiter will also be there in the sign of Scorpio in your sixth house, which is going to be helpful for you. Though there is a debilitated aspect into the eighth house, but I'm not too worried. In fact, Geminis, it is working out pretty decently for you. I think Geminis, both ascendant as well as moon signs, I anticipate positive movement of the year 2025. It is going to be an year of rush. You will have to put in a lot more efforts to see that you extract the outcomes. You will be busy at work. Relationships are going to work fine. You are going to have decent outcome when it comes to your romantic pursuits as well. Your health is going to be on an uptick, on a better state once Jupiter is transiting into the second house and aspecting there. So there will be a phase where you could, in the middle part of the year, where you might feel some sort of mental turbulence or physical ailment as well. You might have to take care of your mother's mental health and emotions too at that point in time. But broadly, about 6 to 7 months in the year 2025 are going to be so very positive for you that you could see some deep transformation from a career perspective. Now, this is not eighth house transformations I'm talking about. I'm talking about an uptake. I'm referring to a growth here, promotions here. You were doing better with respect to your business approach and finding success and all those parameters. So I hope, guys, this reading was fruitful. I would also urge you, if you want to get your transit as well as 2025 yearly analysis done, want to find some appointment with me, feel free to reach out to me. I am giving in slots, more slots until the month of December to address your concerns. Until then, keep watching Dev Astrology. Om Namah Shivaya.